haɗu a garin mana a shiga mota inda kafa ne daga nan zuwa lantan wallahi za mu je da kafa. Menene abin da muke yi ne? In ba za su yi ba malamin da ke karantar da mu ba ma so mu ketare iyakar su ne. Muna respecting din su ne, muna jiran su ne. In ba su da lokaci wallahi tallahi na amince zan zama komanda. Wallahi tallahi a ba da iko. Wallahi zan jagoranci tafiyar. Wallahi zan jagoranta a gayyata. Wallahi mu mai da kowa gidansa. Duk musulmin da ke Yamini, duk musulmin da ke Yalwan Shandam, duk musulmin da ke Garkawa, na yi alkawarin zan wuce gaba kowa ya koma gidansa.
That is Issa Pantami, the former Minister of Communication under President Muhammadu Buhari. You might not know him, but just remember the man that initiated the NIM linking that led to many people losing their phone numbers. Alright, he's in the news today, and we're going to tell you why he is on the news. The former Minister of Communication during President Buhari regime, Mr. Issa Pantami, is crowdfunding on social media the sum of 60 million naira to be paid to kidnappers. Yes, you heard that right. 60 million naira to be paid to kidnappers. In a concerning development, Professor Issa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, a distinguished cybersecurity expert and former Minister of Communications and Digital Economy in Nigeria, has sparked controversy by openly revealing his involvement in securing a ransom for kidnapping victims. This revelation raised significant ethical and legal concern, given his expertise in cybersecurity and prior ministerial role overseeing the country's digital data. Critics questioned the appropriateness of prominent figure aiding terrorism through ransom payment and raised suspicion about potential money laundering. This picture shows a family that was kidnapped in their Buhari residence in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on the 2nd of January 2024, along with 6 daughters. The father was later released and was asked to go and get 60 million to secure the release of his daughters. He failed to do so, and the kidnappers killed one of his daughters named Nabiha. But his other daughters are still being held hostage by the kidnappers. The kidnappers have now increased the money to 65 million and gave a 3-day deadline. This has elicited reaction and sympathy as Nigerians took to social media to crowdfund 65 million for the release of the hostages. I kid you not, Nigerians are literally soliciting for funds on social media to pay kidnappers. Speaking with Daily Trust, according to what Daily Trust reported, Nabia's uncle, who has been involved in the rescue effort, said the bandits were infuriated when they told them they had raised half of the 60 million ransom. According to him, on Friday, which was the day the deadline they gave us lapsed, they called and we tried to plead and negotiate with them that we were only able to raise close to 30 million. After back and forth, they instructed us to come and receive a message at a location in the night. But when we got there around past 10 p.m., what we saw was shocking. Nabiha and 3 other victims were brutally murdered, and we have to go with our corpse and leave the other 3 bodies there, who might also be victims of failed negotiation because we believe their people are also coming for them. It was a heartless scenario. The uncle added that they later called and warned that they will be killing the rest siblings if the ransom, which they have increased to 100 million, 20 million each for the 5 of them remaining, is not met on the next deadline on Wednesday. They rejected the close to 30 million that we took to them. They were furious and resulted in further insult and threats that we were even pleading with them for 65 million or 70 million, which we don't even have, he added. The uncle called on the state and federal government to come to the rescue of the remaining 5 siblings and all the captives still in custody of the bandit to avoid a similar fate like Nabiha. Now, this is where the former minister came in. The former Minister of Communication, Issa Pantami, took to his X account to share the role he's playing to secure the release of the girls. Listen to what he said. I'm personally not in support of paying ransom to criminals. However, as it becomes clear, we lost our daughter Nabiha yesterday, and the 5 remaining daughters have been threatened, as I spoke with the father on the matter yesterday and today. Furthermore, I spoke with a friend and a brother who offered to pay the remaining 50 million naira of the 60 million naira immediately. I conveyed the account number of the father of our daughter, Mansour Kridar, to a friend and a brother to send the money directly. Any additional amount earlier generated from yesterday, the father can use to treat the daughters and other family members, inshallah. Now, remember, this was the same minister that initiated the NIM process, saying that it's going to combat crime, especially kidnapping. Now, he was asked, what is the use of the NIM that he propagated? And this is his response. He said, the NIM SIM policy has been working. However, the relevant institutions fighting criminality are to be requested to ensure they utilize it effectively when a crime is committed. Lack of utilizing it is the main problem, not the policy. While in office, I know 3 instances where the policy was utilized and it led to the success of their operations. On the lack of utilization, I'm more worried than anyone, as my life was threatened by criminals for reintroducing it, including BBC, Hausa and other national dailies. I resisted and ensured its implementation. If it's not being utilized by the relevant institution in charge of securing lives and property, then I'm more frustrated than any person. As I've sacrificed my life, I ignore all the threats to life. This is just a point out of 100 on the policy. May the Almighty rescue all the kidnapped and bring absolute peace and stability to Nigeria. Now, before we proceed, I want to read something very important to you, because the person we are talking about here is a former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, read this. He said, on April 27, the Senate passed the Terrorism Prevention Act 2023, Amendment B, 2002 into law, and particularly amended Section 14 to read thus: anyone who transfers funds, makes payment, or colludes with an abductor, kidnapper, or terrorist to receive any ransom for the release of any person who has been wrongfully confined, imprisoned, or kidnapped is guilty of a felony and is liable on a conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 15 years. This is a law in Nigeria that has been stamped and passed into law by the president himself, Muhammadu Buhari, whom Pantami served under. We are coming. This is worrisome and should send fear down the spine of every Nigerian, because how can a former government official who was responsible in charge of the data of Nigerians be openly financing terrorism according to the law? That's what the law states. There was someone that has your data, that has my data. This is trouble. Let's look at this critically and talk about why we should be talking about insecurity in Abuja, considering the fact that the nation's security apparatus are all domiciled in Abuja. Its safety for citizens should have been of utmost priority. Unfortunately, that's not presently the case, as Abuja has become a hotbed of criminal activities such as armed robbery, kidnapping, one-chance robbers, and car hijackers. Being the nation's capital, Abuja is the home of people of varied background and nationality, including profile individuals, government officials, the diplomatic corps, foreign dignitaries. It's also a seat of power where the 3 arms of government, executive, legislature, and judiciary, as well as the security chiefs, are based. It's worrisome to have the nation capital being held hostage by criminals. If the seat of power with all its apparatus is not secure, what then happens to other states? The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is the commander-in-chief of all the security forces, lives in Abuja and he cannot secure Abuja. What then happens to other states? This is a failure of government at its worst. To make everything worse, a former minister who oversaw the data of over 100 million Nigerians seen soliciting for funds on social media to pay kidnappers, thereby violating the law of the land, is more worrisome. Nigerians, think. Thank you for watching.
Mu shiga mota ko da kafa mu kai su walwashin dan mana, mu je garin lantan mu bi garin lantan din mana. Me ake tsoro ne? Me muke fargaba ne a duniya ne? Ba mutuwa bace. Malaman mu wallahi dole su dubi akan wannan al'amari. Committee da ake ba zai mana maganin abun ba. A kawo taimako an ba wa 'yan gudun hijira miliyan 5-10, wannan kaskanci ne. Mu haɗu a garin mana. A shiga mota inda kafa ne daga nan zuwa lantan, wallahi za mu je da kafa. Menene abun da muke yi ne? In ba za su yi ba, malaman da ke karantar da mu ba ma so mu ketare iyakar su ne. Muna respecting din su ne, muna jiran su ne. In ba su da lokaci, wallahi tallahi na amince zan zama komanda. Wallahi tallahi a bada iko, wallahi zan jagoranci tafiyar. Wallahi zan jagoranta a gayyata, wallahi mu mai da kowa gidansa. Duk musulmin da ke Yamini, duk musulmin da ke Yalwan Shandam, duk musulmin da ke Garkawa, na yi alkawarin zan wuce gaba, kowa ya koma gidansa ya shiga. Kowa ya koma gidansa ya shiga, wallahi na yi alkawarin zan wuce gaba. na yi alkawarin a kashe ni akan addinin Allah, na amince a nan ma a kashe ni akan addinin Allah, na amince me muke yi ne a rayuwa? Wannan kaskanci da muke cikin me za mu je mu ga Allah gobe kiyama a kayansa? Mutane ana ta koro su na ajiye su. Sahabbai ba haka suka rayu ba. Malaman sunna ku ne malamanmu, ku ne iyayenmu, ku ne jagororinmu. Ba ma so mu ketare iyakar ku, ba ma so mu ketare abin da kuke gaya mana. Kaskancin da muke rayuwa ya ishe mu a rayuwa, ya ishe mu a cikin rayuwar da muke. Ba a mana magana ba aka rusa masallaci a Numan, musulmai suna kuka makiyin Allah ya ce a rusa, babu wanda ya magana. Mutane sun zo sallar juma'a ana sa wa masallaci gireda a kasar a garin Numan. Me za mu je mu gaya wa Allah? A sallah kadai Allah yake bukatan mu da shi, azumi kadai Allah yake bukatan mu da shi, azumi kadai Allah yake bukata mu ya wata Ramadan. Ba za mu mutu bane jama'a?